So today, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be inspired because we have a true powerhouse join us on the Sunny Entrepreneur. Please put your hands together for the incredible, the unstoppable Rex Schnelly. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Rex is an American multi-instrumentalist. He plays the guitar. He's also a singer, songwriter, and record producer. Man, this is a good resume. So Rex, welcome.
Thank you. So honored to be here. I hope I can't live up to the hype of how you gave me. I'm just an ordinary guy. So hopefully we can have just a great conversation. So
thank you, Rex, for taking the time to talk to me and also inspire others with your story.
Thank you.
So Rex, why don't you tell us more about your background? Tell us more a little bit about yourself. So what do you do? And we can go from there.
So I guess my job is I'm a producer, primarily music, but I also produce other types of media, content producer. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm an artist. I am a worship leader at a church. I always am bivocational or trivocational because the reality is we have to wear a lot of hats to survive in our economy. And so just kind of that's what I do presently. I've been doing this for a long time, since I've been about 22 years old professionally. That's what I've been doing. So I feel real fortunate to be able to have been done that. I've been married. It's gonna be 34 years. Deborah is my wife, from Texas, migrated to Tennessee in 1990, and have been the Nashville area ever since. We live in Franklin, Tennessee right now, and so we're just I've enjoyed the ride. I've been very, very blessed. So it's been a great journey. Through the experience with Sony, so many projects, so many demos, so many hours. The 10,000 hours. We I put in the 10,000 hours, which for those who are wanting to do this, the word show business, you've got show and you've got business, and you've got to have both. But you can't do the business unless there's a show. You have to have the 10,000 hours. So be prepared to put in the time to do that. Practice. So anyway, it grew from there, and so my career expanded from then on out to doing recording projects, and then I started to kind of step into my artistry as well, and that developed into me as an artist. And the opportunities that came my way, I think I got a chance to do a record where I recorded with my guitar heroes, Eric Johnson and Dan Huff, who was a major producer and ACM's producer of the year for 4 years, I think, and Billboard's producer of the year. Got a chance he's a guitar player as well. Amazing studio session guy, and a writer and a performer, just kind of a renaissance, musician. And then Phil Kagi, who was I was a hero. He was my hero, and all these guys were. And I did a record, and it just somehow within 2 days, all of them agreed to play on my record. That's awesome. So I'm really proud of that, and worked with singer-songwriter Bill Anderson, who's Grand Ole Opry famous, huge songwriter, Hall of Fame songwriter. I produced 4 of his records, co-produced with him 4 of his records, and wrote with him as well a little bit. And so that was I really count that as an experience that I'm just so blessed, because he's such an icon, in the industry, and great artist and sweet individual, and hired me to play on the road with him for a couple of years. So you take jobs and wear a lot of hats, when you do this. I've always been a producer, and my client list has always just been mostly independent people. So you have to be flexible. And the other thing is you have to be humble, and be willing to be bivocational or trivocational and do what it takes to, to supplement your income. And that's when I got into producing and doing, engineering as well, and doing video production and doing podcast, and then learning to be a producer of music to actually take artists and grow their career, and help hopefully open that door as well.
So let's talk about your collaborations. You mentioned before Phil
Kagi.
Yeah, Phil Kagi.
Yeah.
So how influential he was in your career?
Yeah, as a young man, about 11 years old, I saw him play, and he was in a band called Glass Harp in the late 60s. That he was known as a pretty incredible virtuoso guitar player. And then he was part of the early Jesus movement in the early 70s. If you've seen the movie, the Jesus Revolution, he was a big part. In fact, he was a part of the band Love Song when they started and kicked off that whole West Coast gospel Jesus movement thing. And that's where his career really exploded. And then he was world renowned amongst guitar players as being just one of the best. He truly is one of the best too. So at a young age, I met him. And then as a turn of fate in 2005, I'd been working here in the Christian music industry. My wife actually got a record deal in 1994 in a Christian trio. So she was also a singer. And I had met Phil Kagi, and we met at a birthday party and just said, hey, let's work together. Let's hang out. Let's write. So from 2005 till now, we've been working together and become very, very good friends. And he's been a mentor of mine. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he was real instrumental too.
That's awesome. We definitely need mentors, right? In our lives.
Yeah, and also at the same time, Dan Huff entered that same experience. He was a producer, guitar player, like I said, producer of the year, Billboard, and then another guitar player, Eric Johnson, who'd won a Grammy for his record too. They all contributed to my first really big artist record that I did myself. Well, big in the sense that it was an experience, not that it sold. I think it sold plywood, as we would joke. Instead of going gold or platinum, it went plywood. But it was. I count that as the greatest experience, and then continued to contribute to other records later on. They contributed to be a part of it, and just so grateful for them. Mentors: Dan Huff, Eric Johnson, Phil Kagi, just amazing people.
Tell us more about your latest album. It's called All I Want Is You.
All I Want.
Yeah. Yep. Released in 2022.
Yeah, it was the latest one. So my influences from Sting to Mr. to Steely Dan to Eric Johnson to Yes to Van Halen to I could go on and on with a lot of the influences that I love. Alan Parsons Project, all of the really well crafted musician heavy Toto groups that inspire me. That's what my records sound like. And so the latest one that I wrote, I'm very proud of it. I feel like my songwriting is maturing. I have on this record, I've written with Hall of Fame songwriters too: Tom Douglas, Chapin Hartford. There's Michael Koster. There's people that I've written with that I'm very proud of. Some of these songs: Bill Anderson, Rivers Rutherford, James House. I feel like I've been blessed to be able to collaborate with the best songwriters and learn from the best songwriters. And so this latest record is a lot like that. It's very pop, very progressive rock, and high production value. So I'm real pleased with it.
You mentioned about your faith,
yeah,
and your influencers to become a Christian.
Yes.
Could you please share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think in my journey, my story, when you work as much as I did, I was discovering that I didn't have fulfillment unless there was a purpose. unless there
Mhm.
was a, and the purpose is, for the thriving of man, for the good of man, and moving away from belligerence and hatred more toward love and reformation and virtuous life, and helping, loving people, and finding healthy ways to express what we were created to express. And so what I discovered is that faith was the door to finding that relationship with God. And again, I know there's some people that may or may not subscribe to that, and we have a free country. My expression is, I would invite you to taste it and see
Mm.
how it will change your world. It changed my life and brought me health and life and struggle, and but has been the biggest factor in finding purpose and meaning, and that I was pursued by God and saved by Him from my own devices is
Mhm.
why I do that. So that's what and it started from a young age. I grew up in a believing, what I would call evangelical uh, situation, Orthodox Christianity,
Mhm.
very very gospel centered, but very very love and grace oriented to hopefully present who God really is, which is the lover of
Mhm.
man and redeemer of the world.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So let's talk about hobbies. Do you have
Yeah,
any particular hobby that you would like to share with us?
yeah, it's interesting, Nestor. I mean, music being my income, it's also my I love music as a hobby. So it is a big part of it. But I also love art. I love reading and theology, and
Mhm.
I love friendship and community, and especially multi-ethnic community, to where I'm the minority and I get to be. I mean, meeting you. One thing I want to commend you for is, as a man who's bilingual, and becoming an entrepreneur yourself, and actually finding this medium of connecting and inspiring. You're an example as well. So I love meeting people like you, and then I have podcasts and I do other things too. That's a big part of what drives me, as a person, and as a connector, and
Mhm.
in community too. So I love that. I like exercise. I used to love to run, but because I'm getting old, 58, my knees and my ankles won't, and my hips now, oh goodness, won't let me run. So now I walk, a lot too. But I love to exercise. So those things.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. Music is your hobby, your main hobby.
it is.
Awesome. So let's talk about your business itself.
Hmm.
So you mentioned that you write songs,
Yeah.
you're a singer, you also partner with other musicians.
Hmm.
Which product is, or which products are your top three products that you provide?
Okay. So I'm a producer.
Mhm.
Basically, a producer is someone who has to have the skill to write, record, play, collaborate, market, social media. You kind of have to have all those skills, and I bring to the table all of those skills to help other people. And
Mhm.
so I'm a big, part of that. I think one of the best projects I've done is me and Phil Kagi did a record together called Illumination,
Mhm.
and it's a progressive rock record, and it really is. I'm very very proud of it. It's we get nothing but great reviews, and it shows. I play all the instruments on it except for Phil Kagi's guitar and his vocal, and it was a way for us to do that. So that's one project that I do, I also include as a part of my products. I'm a guitar player, bass
Mhm.
player, drummer, keyboard player, singer. So I can actually do that for other people, be hired as a guitar player, be hired as a
Mhm.
singer on other people's that are projects as well. So that's my main product. I
Mhm.
also am an engineer. and video producer and audio producer. So at present, I'm a technical producer of Positive Sobriety Podcast, which we've done 150 podcasts of a good friend of mine, Nate Larkin. Well, David Hampton is the main guy on the podcast, and they interview recovery people, people that are in substance abuse recovery. That's why they call it Positive Sobriety. So I do, the production of that particular, the technical production of that particular, put together the segments and that kind of thing, and have been doing that for a while. I also do videos, produce some of my own videos and some videos for other people. When I produce records, sometimes I'll do the graphics and I'll do the, the design of the CD and the photography and the artwork and all that kind of stuff too. I did that for Illumination, which is Phil Kagan and I record too. And I'm pretty proud of that package. It turned out really sharp looking. So that's a big part. And then live music, I'm also as known as I can hire me to play in your band. Although I'm busy enough with my own stuff that it's hard to carve out time there. And so that's one product. I'm a worship leader at a church, so I also basically write the liturgy for the worship service, all the prayers, all of the the confessions, and then the music, and kind of trend the whole outline of that. So hopefully, I'm going to be an author probably pretty quickly. I've had a couple of people approach me and say, "Would you write about some Christian worldview, but in a way that would, like Tim Keller, who's just passed away, big hero of mine, and by watching his life, it makes me want to embrace some of the mantle of what he did, how he communicated the gospel, how he communicated the love of God into real life, and just helped people find that." And I want to do that as well. So
through books, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Definitely a good idea there. You want to pursue. How do you differentiate your business from competitors?
So it really, in creativity, it really is you have to find where you can thrive, and so your skill set will kind of help you find out what you do. Because I'm technical as well as creative, I can offer a lot more what I would call turnkey, everything. I can do everything for you if you would desire me to do that. But I can also work and plan and coordinate a whole production with those people if you want me to do that too. One thing that I've kind of started moving toward is learning who to say no to and who to say yes to, and being honest and humble enough to say, I know what you're trying to do. I have a friend that can do it better than me. Let me refer you to this friend. Or say, if you would like me to, I can help you grow. You're not quite ready to record, but you can grow to that. Let me help you in your career, and let me help you do that as well. So I think I try to position myself as someone who, I've told, the person told me this one time. He said, Rex, it's just, you're so good at making other people successful. And so part of maybe what I'm supposed to do is make other people successful. And in turn, that helps, that pays my bills. So,
exactly. Win-win relationship.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying yes to this podcast.
Well, thank you for asking me. I'm glad. I'm excited what you're gonna, the coverage you're gonna get, and what people are gonna start seeing this as an opportunity too. So I think you're gonna get some good guests as well. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So in terms of your sales channels, how do you get your customers? Is it word of mouth? How does it work?
Yes, it is word of mouth. It's relationships, really, for me. Just recently, I'm really excited. Through Phil Kagan, I had heard a project that Phil Kagan and Robin Crow, who owns Dark Horse Institute. It's a school for recording and songwriting. He's also a New York Times bestselling author. They did a project with John Anderson from Yes, and it was a really well produced. Robin produced and Phil played on it, and it was incredible. But I heard one of those songs, and when I listened to the songs, I go, man, I'd love to turn that into more of a rock, like add to it, turn it into a Yes sounding song.
Mhm.
And so I did that, and John Anderson loved it. And I reached out to him, and I did a video and the production. And so I'm being able to work with my heroes like John Anderson, the singer for Yes, and praying about a sales channel for that particular project. But I have a lot of these little one-off, but really nicely connected and intriguing, beautiful productions. And so it's more word of mouth and relationship. I don't have advertising. I'm not good at that. So that's what the weakest thing that I do is marketing and social media and that kind of thing too. So I'm trying to figure out a better way to do that. So
yeah, but it seems like relationships is really, really key for your business.
Very key.
Awesome. Something to take in consideration for those who want to pursue this career.
That's correct.
So let's go over the challenges. So what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as an entrepreneur?
Yes. In my world of music and production, the economic model, like I've talked about, changed so drastically that the money went away. And so finding revenue streams that are new and that are, untried, for instance, the internet, record, having your own website, selling your own downloads as opposed to streaming, to have people value an artifact of your creativity and be willing to pay for it as opposed to just stream it and give you 0.0003 cents. Maybe spend $10 and buy your record, download a digital copy of it, or even spend maybe $20 and get a CD as an artifact, which is the best way to support an artist. Just like a painter can make a painting, but he can't sell it as a digital copy online. You know what I mean? That's a hard thing to do, even though there's a creative way to do that. That's been the biggest challenge, is finding a way to create a revenue stream to support my skill, which used to be paid for by physical artifacts, sales of physical artifacts. That's gone away.
It has changed a lot.
It has gone away
in the last few years. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I see that it's changing a lot.
Yeah.
And how did you stay motivated during these tough times?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I guess there's two things. The first thing is you have to love what you do, whether you're paid for it or not. You have to create beauty, you have to, and quality, and you really have to pour all of those energies into that. But then the second thing that I've found is purpose. I can't spend my passion on things that I don't feel have a purpose. And so right away, what I call people, if it doesn't light your jets, if it doesn't really give you, the monkey, what my friend Don Cook, who was the head of Sony for some hit songwriter, he called it the monkey nerve. You've got to push the monkey nerve that makes the monkey, play the cymbals, and you'll know, and to let yourself be, let that be kind of a catalyst for what you pursue. Sometimes we've got to do jobs that we don't like. Sometimes we've got to dig a ditch. Sometimes we've got to, whatever we may do, shingle a house. And there's people that get really good at that and love that. And so just count your blessings, and appreciate the fact that find something that drives your passion, but also be humble. Know that you've got to pay your bills, and don't be scared of really hard work. And then the very last thing I would say is 10,000 hours. 10,000
hours.
You have to develop your skill. You can't just expect it to come, and so be patient with yourself. Pursue that. You do the best that you can, create art, create circumstances with the best of what you bring to the table, but let yourself grow, go to the next level, and be relentless, be prodigious. Just produce, because there'll be a day when you can't produce anymore. So take advantage of the moment, seize the day.
Yeah, definitely. Have you read the book called Outliers from Malcolm Gladwell?
I have not.
He talks about the 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah. That's the original source. That's yeah. I've only read quotes from that. I wish I was a better student of reading more of that.
Yeah.
I tend to
Yeah,
focus my, yeah,
yeah, it's quite popular. His book is
yeah,
called Outliers.
yeah. He
For
was
those
the
who want to
original.
explore that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I learned that in school.
that's good. That's good.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk about accomplishments.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned a lot about your projects. So can you describe a successful project or accomplishment that you have or you
Um,
are particularly proud of?
yeah. I had mentioned before there was a record I did called Hero Shuffle,
Hmm.
and on that record there is me and Phil Kagi and Eric Johnson, Grammy-winning guitar player, singer, songwriter, artist. Dan Huff, Grammy-winning producer, of the year, and they're all on that record. There's one song that me and Phil Kagi and Eric Johnson trade solos. We trade solos on an instrumental together, and that was a huge accomplishment for me because I have friends in the industry that have been trying to get Phil Kagi and Eric Johnson together to play together because
Hmm.
they're such world-renowned musicians. And then here I come along on my record and I'm nobody, and then I'm part of that little triad of at getting them to play on the same record. So that was to me just, divine appointment for that. So I'm really pleased with that record and really all the 4 records that I have on my website. I really am pleased, and there's nothing on those records there's everything about those records that I'm really pleased with. So those accomplishments
Hmm.
good.
So what have you learned about leadership and management while running your business?
I think one of the things that I can offer in my product set is I feel like I've learned to coach people well
Hmm.
to get their best performance that they can bring at the same time of helping them enjoy that process, enjoy the moment, finding the joy in the process, and as a good coach will help you not waste energy on things that you shouldn't be wasting your energy on, but spend energy on the things you should be. Find your strengths
Hmm.
and play toward those. I feel like I've become that not only in music but also in relationships, and then in organizations, in running relationships and organizations and leadership. For instance, in a session or a elder board of a church, executive boards of companies, casting vision of emphasizing strengths and mitigating weaknesses, but then improving the weakness to become a strength too. I
Hmm.
feel like through this process of being a producer and working with people, and then trying to get it myself, trying to produce myself, to coach myself. I feel like
Hmm.
I've come to a place where I can offer a lot to coaching and teaching and bringing the best performance and enjoyment in people and their
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And also you have a lot of experience. So that's definitely beneficial for those who want to learn from you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So let's go over the pieces of advice that you might have for entrepreneurs. So what advice could you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who have just started in this industry, music industry?
In the music industry, I think one of the things that you need to grab a hold of is your work ethic.
Mm.
Um, you'll need to understand that it's to set a good schedule, to be disciplined, to work on your craft, but work on all the other things that support that. If you're really learn a musical instrument, really learn how to craft, uh, you know educate yourself, intelligence, but also be humble. Never be afraid to, and musicians obviously step into this category of being bivocational, you know being a barista at Starbucks, or
Hmm.
being or even having a true bivocation of a career where they're like a medical professional, or they're a business professional, and
Hmm.
to understand that to step in and just do what it takes to support yourself will always open doors of opportunity for your true passion. So don't be afraid to maybe spend time that you'd like to spend in creativity, working a job doesn't take away your ability to play guitar. You can come
Mm-hmm.
home, be more focused with your guitar playing if you have a regular job, and it will help you become better faster because you have to manage your time,
Exactly.
as opposed to having too much time and then being scattered and not know how to manage your time. So be disciplined and be intelligent about and humble, to enter
Mm-hmm.
into that as
Yeah.
well.
Discipline is tough sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
And don't become obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Don't one of the things in a faith practice is a thing that can become quote unquote an idol or a compulsive nature is, if I don't have that thing that I'm after, life is not worth living.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I could just get rid of this, life would be worth living. Or if I could just do this, life would be worth living. You have to find the enjoyment of life and not let that thing be an obsessive thing. In other words, it's do or die for that. You have to find your health and joy in relationships, and then you can appreciate those things for their own merit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can become good, and your personality, your testimony as a person will flow in a more healthy way if you can actually approach what you're after to do that, and not let it be the end all do all of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Be a balanced person. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. To wrap this up, anything that you would like to add? Any projects? You talk about a couple of projects that you're working on,
mm-hmm.
so the people or the audience is aware of your work.
Yeah, this is an interesting process in the new music economy. Various production values are presenting themselves that change over time. So
Mm-hmm.
in our market right now, when making that hyper technical perfected record with all of the moving parts and the lights and bells and whistles, that used to be what you would sell. But what's becoming more and more part of what the new market is basically being good enough to get on your iPhone, pull up your guitar, and sing your song with that low quality phone microphone and the whole thing, and make that sound really good.
Mm-hmm.
And do that a lot. So you have to be secure in your skill, bold in your effort, but also at the same time, don't take yourself too seriously. In other words, be yourself, perform, do what you do, and that's the thing I'm not comfortable with is social media. I'm just not that person that, like a lot of what I call the kids, the youngins that have grown up with social media. They're so good at it because they interact. To me, it's just, I'm so self-conscious, and I've got this 58-year-old man inside of this 14-year-old kid, and he doesn't know what to do. But my new projects are going to be that I'm going to just be free. And I've done a couple of live performances where I've analyzed what I've done and go, I can do this. It's not, I'm not Sting. I'm not these people that are just really, really good at what they do. But what I have to offer is me. And I've found that me, that unique me, and what I can bring to the table. And you may not like me, and that's fine. But there are those people who do like me as far as what I can express. And I'm not trying to sell me. I'm trying to sell the story.
Exactly.
I'm trying to sell the experience. And so I'm excited about the future because I'm finally at peace with that. I'm finally, it's taken me all this time to finally sit in a place to where let me play you a song,
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, where can people find your products, your services?
My website obviously is the best place, and all the marketing people will tell you that's primary. rexmusic.us, rexmusic.us, and I'm going to revamp that. I'm constantly revamping. You can find out all of my products on that, except for my Phil Keaggy record, which is, you can go to Phil Keaggy, the Illumination record that we've done together. And then many other things that we've done together is on his website as well. I'm going to try to incorporate that into my website. So my website, rexmusic.us. I have a YouTube channel that I have a bunch of videos and live performances that you can check out what I do. I would really if you would look at my live performance stuff.
Mhm.
I'm really pleased with, you know, how that came out, and my musicians are so good, and I want them to be rewarded and known, and you know, kind of lauded for their capability too. And they're such great people. So I want you to see them, how what they contribute when we get together, what they contribute to the sound. So that, and then I'm on Facebook. You know, you can find me on Facebook as well if you want to chat or connect that way.
Awesome. This is very, very helpful and very, very educational for those who are definitely trying to get into the music industry.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Very, very inspiring. And people will definitely take full advantage of your pieces of advice. Thank you again for the opportunity. So anything else that you would like to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want to commend you, Nestor, for this is really well done, and thank you for giving it such a great. I mean, everything about it is just. I love the format. I love the framing. I love your good work of focusing and being a coach, of know what to ask and that kind of thing too. So I want to commend you for this.
Thank you, Rex, for your words and for the opportunity again. And for those who are watching us, thank you guys for stopping by. We really appreciate your time and your efforts. Thank you again. See you next time.
Thanks, Nestor. Blessings.
Bye.
Bye.